And so they found me. And the photographer is like, man, I want to get a really cool photo. What do you think we can do? And I said, I think I can go get some pictures with some manatees in some cool places. I think I could get a permit to do it. I mean, I worked with manatee protection for, better part of a decade. So like, I know the people I could ask, so there's an area in Florida that, they people take pictures there and stuff, but certainly not fully clothed like I was. And that was the whole pitch, was like, I was going to go in there fully clothed with a microphone and swim around with manatees. And, the thing is you cannot touch them. You're not supposed to engage them at all. If they're sleeping, you're not supposed to disturb them. There's a lot of rules still, but there's viewing platforms in this area where people are watching manatees. And I just come swimming in because I came in a boat and then came in through the mouth of this spring. I come swimming in fully clothed like a crazy person. I'm sure people called the police, like, there's somebody in the water. He's gonna kill them. Like I'm out.
Well, if you go back to the old legend that the manatees are meant to have inspired mermaids, maybe they thought you were there for romance, not for wildlife. Yeah. The ultimate wildlife interaction.
Yeah, or at least drunk enough to think that's going to happen. Yeah. So,
and how drunk would you have to be to look at a manatee and go, that is a beautiful woman, half fish trying to seduce me?
I mean, how drunk were pirates? I mean, stereotypically they were. So I feel like, what's in that grog?
Yeah. I mean, do you think Johnny Depp had the choice between a manatee and Amber Heard? Can't understand his decision.
I'm just saying, it's just, you leave rum out in the sun long enough, I think hallucinogenic properties,
You don't even need to leave it in the sun.
Yeah. Anyways, that manatee floated right. It looks like we're armless touching heads, but I did not do that. I just blew all the air out of my lungs, sunk to the bottom and stood there. And the manatee drifted over. So it looks like we're best buds. That's a real picture. It's an awesome picture.
That's amazing. I honestly thought it was photoshopped. I thought part of your comedy career, bring in that and juxtapose the images. That's amazing.
Really cool.
And I think if you live and work with wildlife for a long time, you get those chances. I realized that the recording hadn't started, so the intro didn't actually kick in, but wanted to say welcome Forrest Shaw, marine biologist, conservation ecologist turned comedian. I absolutely love that photo. But we're going to start with a few prepared questions here. Obviously, in terms of with diving, you must have dived quite a bit for your job.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, when you're doing that, you can't drink and dive. Is that why you switched to comedy? Because you can be on anything and go to work?
First of all, you can't drink and dive. That's good. Let me write that down here.
Got that one down, yeah.
Okay. But you can't do drugs and dive. No.
That could be fun.
It isn't why I switched. The non-funny answer is not why I switched to comedy. I switched to comedy because I got to the point where I was stuck at a desk more, and I wasn't like in the field as much. And I had started doing comedy. I'm not married. I didn't have kids. I had a couple cats, so I didn't have a lot of people depending on me. So I was like, let's just give up this whole career that I went to school with and spent the last 1.5 decades doing, and let's jump into the completely unstable world of comedy. But you can't drink and there's some people that can drink and do comedy, but it's not. There are a few people that are probably good at it, but I think for the most part, eventually, there's a lot of recovering alcoholics in comedy. One, because you get free drinks your whole career, But I think you come to find out you're a better comic when you're not drinking. Because at the beginning, I would drink. I had done some drugs and things, and I thought that'd be better. And I look back at some of the tapes or the memories I have, and I'm just cringy, So
yeah, I've always thought that I do a fair amount of public speaking, which has got some similarities to comedy, up on a stage with a crowd that could be hostile, could not be. And I think it's a little bit like playing pool. There's this Goldilocks zone where about 2 drinks in, you've got the confidence to make the shot and get it. And then after that, you're just the disaster. You're breaking the cue. You're doing all of that.
Yeah. And you think it's helping you. And yeah, it's like that. The pool analogy is good. You think it's helping you, but it really isn't. Even, you know what it is too? It's like when you're amplified, your voice, every little thing gets picked up. Like every little breath or this, that. And the more you drink, the more you start to everyone's speech changes a little bit different, but sometimes you slur a little bit, your tongue gets swollen, you'll spit a little bit more, you'll mispronounce a word. And once it's amplified, it's like everybody can.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said gold. Probably best to stop it too. Okay, so we've got a tradition here on Deep in the Bush. There are ambush questions. They're nothing personal, just to get a feeling for who you are. So no idea what's coming for you here. If you could choose an animal superpower, be able to swim with the grace of a manatee or a dolphin, whichever you'd prefer, fly like a falcon, camouflage like a chameleon, what would you choose?
Yeah, I do think about this a lot. It's weird. I don't know if everybody thinks about this, but I think
I do it all the time.
yeah, but you know, you're an animal person, so
Yeah.
I don't know if accountants sit there and they're like, oh man, owls, they're wise. But I got to, man, okay. I've always thought I wanted to be able to fly, and the best flyers to me are the ones that aren't flapping their wings, the soarers, you know, like. And although they're very ugly, if you've ever seen like a turkey buzzard or something, like they can fly for miles and miles and miles and miles without even flapping their wings, which I think is such a benefit. However, you'd look like a turkey buzzard. That'd be the only thing. I guess you just have the power, but yeah. So then I was like, eagle. That's my next one. But then I've been to enough bird sanctuaries or rehab centers to see where they get shot by jackasses with like pellet guns or something. I'm like, well, someone's going to shoot me, or I'm going to run into a telephone wire or some crap like that.
Wind farm.
Yeah, and then I briefly worked with some sea lions at a marine mammal rescue place.
Okay.
And man, there's no cooler swimmer to me than a sea lion. The way they glide through the water,
and that ability, like they can turn.
Fast. I mean, it's like almost like they're contorting their body. They're not, but they just hairpin turns. They have like the maneuvering of like a Formula One race car, you know, and then just this complete graceful gliding. And then, you know, they can hop out of the water and they can get up to pretty high heights, like up on buoys or docks or piers or stuff.
That's the California sea lion, is it? They're huge.
Yeah, the California one's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I saw one off near Seattle once, and I couldn't believe how big it was. It's I mean, sometimes you do in America have things bigger, and that's certainly a case. That's I've also heard that they say things to get bitten by. What the two of the worst animals in the world are seals, sea lions, and humans. They say infections.
Their mouth is probably disgusting. Probably it's like I used to feed these two sea lion. They were pups when they came in, so they had been abandoned. Well, their mom had died, and they were on a beach, and so they were taken into this rescue center. And so I would feed them every morning, and they would just come jump. They test you. That, you know, they're like, and then when I first started working, a new guy, let's see what kind of, and they jump up on the dock and slide towards me with their mouths open, with all their teeth. It's like a dog mouth, but bigger. Just all this teeth, just and going, rah, and coming at you, and you have a fish, and you're just like, you throw it out of the. And eventually, I got to where I was used to them. You know, I was be in the water with them and stuff. But I smelled their breath, and I think there's a lot of bacteria going on in there. It's not up close and personal.
So if you're the last man in the world, the rest of all 7 billion of the rest of us have died out, and you have to take an animal wife, it's not going to be a California sea lion?
I don't know. They are gentle lovers, though, so that's the thing. So that's
very considerate.
There's no video proof of that, but I'm just saying. I'm going to go with the swim. I like being in the water so much. I'm going to go swimming sea lion. That's my final answer on that one. I don't know. If I have to lock these in, but.
Yeah, no, listen, there's no wrong answer with that, is there? But I don't know. Are we weird for thinking about that all the time? Oh, if I had to choose one, which would I choose?
Chameleon's pretty good, though. I never really thought about that till you said that. Like right now, I'd have to look like my desk and my printer to blend in here or something.
Yeah, but it'd be. I mean, if you were using it for, you know, to be a villain, it'd be the world's slowest robbery. I don't know if you've ever watched the chameleon move.
Yeah.
The swaying of a twig. And it's so crap because it doesn't work when they're crossing a road.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Africa stopping a car, scooping them up, delivering the direction they're heading.
Yeah. They got to get that asphalt one down. As soon as that asphalt comedian. Well, actually, that's bad. It's probably, maybe they do it on purpose. They scoop them out of the road.
Yeah, just give them a hurry along.
They see too many of their friends get squashed. So they're like, you got to stay green on this one. So.
Okay, so if we lived in a different world, and which of these items do you think would be least likely to get approved for home use or personal use if we lived in a brand new world? Tobacco, alcohol, or cats?
Well, who's making these rules? Me?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, because I do like cats, but I also moved into a new place and there's feral cats here, and I saw one of them trying to take down a squirrel the other day. Not even getting started on birds, and we don't know. But I love house cats to death. I keep them indoors. So cats are destructive to the environment. But the least likely to get approved, I would say tobacco, because I mean, I have yet to talk, and I'll ask smokers and stuff like, what good comes out of cigarettes or tobacco? It relaxes you and this, that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. Meditation relaxes. But it's like, how did that even start? Okay, you have a beer and you're like, this tastes terrible, but give it a minute. And then you get buzzed. And you're like, all right, I can power through this. And then you start to get used to it. And then you're like, oh, beer is good. I don't know how that happens in our brain, because I remember my first sip. And but tobacco.
Yeah.
What kind of pyramid scheme was that they start? They're just like, don't worry. Just wait for it. You're gonna get a slight head brush, and then you're gonna cough
by nausea.
Yeah. Wait till the morning when you cough shut. It's like. It's a shit product. Yeah. So
and you're gonna I don't know how that caught on. Of all the things that are available to us, I mean, why didn't mushrooms become widespread instead of tobacco? Wow. It's quite. We know that early humans were into it. They've been found in grave sites. So
yeah, who figured that out too? Like, of all I know you have a lot of time on your hands. So back in the day, they were eating everything and probably smoking everything. They just got to the tobacco. But why did smoking become a thing? You think it was just eat? I don't know. Maybe the field was on fire and they inhaled it. They're like, someone was having sex in a tree, and they're like, this was great. We have to roll this up.
They found the correlation.
Yeah. They're in a field having sex, and then it was a tobacco field caught on fire. They rolled over. They were lying in the grass, and they're like, we got to do this more often. And that was how it happened. This is facts.
Okay, so you moved from Florida to California, obviously a sun chaser. You're highly qualified to answer this. What is smarter, a manatee or a Californian?
Or a Californian?
Yeah.
Wow. Usually Florida would be the one that you usually would throw Florida under the bus on that question. Usually it's like Florida. It always gets trashed on. California is like, we're considered coastal elites here,
Yeah, but see, that's the marketing side of things. I mean, I lived in Yorba Linda for a while, and don't ask why. There is not a good answer to it. And I realized, there's plenty of ugly California.
Sure, yeah. I mean, well, the center of the state, there's the whole water battle too between the ag lands and us here in LA using the water and. There's all the signs when you drive up there, because it's like the Dust Bowl, quote unquote, because all the water has been taken from up there, and it's like, where would you rather have water for your agriculture or what? And it's like, hypocritical, yes, but but man, I love manatees, but they're not smart. So that's something. They're very, very smooth brains. I just remember that.
Right.
Yeah. Very few folds at all in their brains. I don't think they don't need to be very smart, which is a great place to be. You know,
koalas are the same.
Yeah, really they are. I didn't know about their. Really, they have the same.
Really big brains. Yeah. Not big on problem solving.
But how great is that? Like, all you're worried about eating, you got to find a place to sleep. And that's it, pretty much. I mean, now if you're a manatee, you got to worry about being run over by a boat or crushed in a lock or something. But that's relatively recent,
Yeah, that's a modern problem that they haven't had. I mean, see, similarly with koalas, don't be in the tree with a guy beneath you with a chainsaw. Try to get out of that tree. Yeah, they didn't evolve for that sort of problem.
Yeah, and so I didn't know koalas, because I saw a video of these koalas fighting in the road. I don't know if that's like a famous video. It's like two koalas like viciously going at it, and I don't know, for some reason I equated violence with higher intelligence. I don't know, because if you're dumb, you're just like, hey, this is my tree, this is not my tree. You're like, all right, whatever.
I think I think most species at some point have fights in them. Yeah, koalas, I think, again, they've been really well marketed as like this cute, cuddly thing. But to climb a tree, you've got to have decent claws on you.
Oh yeah.
And they've got pretty good claws. And they then, when the Europeans arrived, their main predators had been wiped out already. But historically, there were all these weird marsupial carnivores, and they had to be able to defend themselves. But their main benefit was camouflage, which, not that they're green or anything, but they just sit so still because there's a narcotic effect from the eucalypt, so they get a bit stoned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a koala at the LA Zoo here that got eaten by a mountain lion. Did you hear about that?
I shouldn't laugh, but
yeah, there's a mountain lion named P22. That's his number, and he somehow crossed the 405 and the 101, and he famously lives in Griffith Park, which is a massive urban, mountain area. And he's got a radio collar on to catch him every once in a while, blah blah blah. But so the zoo's right there in Griffith Park, and I guess there was a koala that was either born in captivity or just so used to being like, I'm at a zoo, I don't need to go in this tree at night, and the mountain lion got off the fence and was like, hey, and just ate one of their koalas while the rest of them were there. So that was, but
that's the zoo might have been happy because apparently they're one of the most expensive animals to keep. Because they not only eat eucalyptus, it's only certain types of eucalyptus. So I mean, I know there's eucalyptus trees all over California from going back to the gold rush days.
Yeah,
that's why they were going over.
That's a conspiracy theory right there. They lured the mountain lion in. They're like, what are you going to do? That's like,
yeah, there you are. God, I hate conspiracy theories. Oh no,
you made it. You just made it up.
No. I hate conspiracy theories, but Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide. the rest is crap.
I'm going to say, sadly, that the manatee, I think, is dumber than California's, but that doesn't mean make them bad. I think I envy them in that way, that they're very simple.
It's a strange. I'm really glad you say that, because it's a strange thing in the way documentaries are now, or what documentaries have become, where wildlife TV's gone from being about the wildlife to being about the host. And they're like, isn't it? Yeah. And they'll have something like a turkey buzz, and they go, and I'm going to have to do it in the accent that you expect. Like, isn't it beautiful? It's like, no, it looks like a scrotum with eyes. Like, it's really not a good looking animal. And it's so intelligent. It's like, no, it isn't. Crocodiles are not smart. And again, like you said, what a lucky thing. They don't have to be. They haven't been smart for millions of years because they haven't needed to be. Lucky them.
Yeah. And what about this one? This is the other one. Okay, if you don't want to eat meat and you want to be a vegetarian or a vegan, whatever, I'm fine with that. I actually have reduced my meat intake over the last year, and I'm trending that way anyways, because it's healthier. There are environmental issues and things like that too. Yep. But the one argument that I'm like, what the fuck is the pigs, because they're smart. We don't eat pigs because they're smart. I understand pigs are intelligent as far as animals go, if you want to put them on the spectrum from intelligent. But why are we allowed to eat dumb animals? What is that? What does that even mean? Manatees are really dumb. People try to eat them. They're protected. You're not allowed to. But I mean, just because a chicken is dumber, or like, I don't get that one at all. Like, that's.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the Nirvana song. It's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings.
Yeah.
And what if they do have some deep emotional? We've all seen Finding Nemo.
And we don't know that they don't have feelings and stuff. Patrice O'Neill, I don't know if you know, great comic who passed away, I want to say like 11 years ago now and stuff. He used to have a great bit about fish. Is the reason that we don't mind killing them, or you're not, because he loved animals, was they have no eyebrows. And they can't make that expression like a puppy or a kid, which I always thought was so great.
It's pretty true. Yeah. I mean, you think a lot of dog breeds are so much more expressive because they have the brow.
The eyebrows are critical, to make them cute. Yeah.
A bull terrier just has a weird looking face and it doesn't move much, so you can't trust them.
Yeah, that's true. But like a pug, it should be ugly, but it's got all the little wrinkles with the little browns. Yeah, that's all.
Ton of character. It'll be the first to go in climate change, though.
The pug?
Pugs, bulldogs, all the
Climate
short
change.
dogs.
It's first to go if it jogs 10 feet.
Yes, yeah. Climate change, not its most looming threat. Yeah.
Breathing is not, thank God there's no COVID in dogs, because the pugs would be done right now. Like, breathing is not its skill.
Well, it's weird. They've shown that dogs can sometimes get it, can sometimes cross into them, but not back to us yet. Yeah, I think the first case was in Hong Kong ages ago. There was one confirmed, a dog that had it. Obviously, all the minks in Denmark had it, and that was mutating and could come back.
And they could pass it on to humans too?
The minks could, dogs not yet. But that's the thing with these zoonotic diseases is they go, if we pass them to an animal, the real danger is when they come back, because they've learned some new trick now.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is current COVID-19, which is one of the many COVIDs that's existed.
Yeah.
Obviously, they think bat, pangolin, what the actual route to us was, they're not sure. But yeah, that's why they culled every single mink in Denmark, millions of them, gassed them.
Gosh.
Quite weird. The mink holocaust in Denmark was because they realized that it was getting back into the mink farmers. And Europe shut their borders to the Danish. It was just, you sort this out. Like, this is comes back worse.
That's crazy to know. That's one of my favorite cities. Copenhagen is I visited. Yeah. It's great. I didn't see a lot of minks in the street there though. So
no, they're not wild minks. But it's only at that point that I realized that Denmark is the biggest farmer of mink in the world. So there you go. Some trivia that I'll never have reason to use until now.
LA County, not illegal to sell fur here. So
really,
yeah. It's I found. How do you feel about this? My mom passed away about 1.5 years ago, and so I've still been like kind of getting stuff sorted, like storage units and things of her belongings. And it turns out my grandmother bought a fur jacket, or my grandfather bought it for back in the 60s, I want to say, or something like that. And it's been in a cold storage unit in Florida, unbeknownst to me until recently. And so I have this jacket now, and I'm not like, I don't know anyone that wants to wear fur, it's like, it's frowned upon. And also, like, how do you sell that? What do you do with that? I mean, I don't know what the rules are. Like, it existed back at a time when that was more acceptable, and you can't just throw it away. So if anybody's watching this wants to buy a fur coat, let me know. DM me.
It's my grandparents had 2 ivory sculptures. I remember it from as a kid. They passed away a long, long time ago, but I don't even know what happened to those. They would have gone to my father or his brother, but it's that thing of, should they be destroyed? Or I really don't know what the right answer is. But also, my grandparents shouldn't be vilified for owning that, because they just didn't know.
But what about me? Like, now I technically own this thing. What am I supposed to burn it? I mean,
so again, when you talked about vegan and vegetarian, my wife is a fully fledged vegetarian, has been for a long time, not vegan. Like you, I'm edging towards it. I probably eat meat once every 10 days or so now, but I've got leather belts and things that I've had again for more than 10 years, because I work in ecotourism, which pays slightly less than starting out in comedy does. So, I don't throw things out. And I'm not going to, even if I went full vegan, I think it's more destructive. It's so weird how it's treated like a religion. Yeah.
I mean, God forbid anyone sees my slippers. They're made out of squirrels. So that's I got the little head on the front and the tail on the back. They're perfect. You walk around the house, the tail cleans up the floor, gets all the dust bunnies.
Davy Crockett feet.
Yeah.
Where did I
put little squeakers in them too, so they make sounds. So it's.
Is this how you're luring new cats to your house?
Yeah. So I get them in to pet them, the ferals. Yeah, get them in here.
Okay, so going back to something a bit more serious, what animal would you most like to see in the wild?
In the wild, probably a big cat. I think they're amazing. They're so
Have
rare.
You seen them? Have you ever seen one?
I have seen. I shouldn't say that. No, but I'm thinking I've seen I don't know, like I've seen smaller ones. Like there's in Griffith Park, a lot of wildlife in Griffith Park. It's massive. I can walk there in 10 minutes from my house. So it's great. I've seen a bobcat, I don't know what species it was, but some sort of like bobcat kind of like size. I didn't get a good enough look at it. It was like there and gone, you know? Yeah. And I know some other people that have seen some cats in there and stuff. I've never seen the mountain lion in there. I would like to.
Amazing. Yeah.
Are you familiar with that mountain lion, P22? It's like
yeah, I've heard about it. I've actually got a friend who researches them up around the Napa Sonoma area as well. Got amazing stories. So I have heard of it, but I lived in LA a long time ago. So
it got caught on a wildlife camera, like a motion capture camera, and it was literally the first picture was it with the Hollywood sign behind it. It's like a headshot, like and. Whatever wildlife researcher whose camera it was like, what the hell? There's a mountain lion, and then there's another one with like the whole city of LA, super crystal clear night with like the whole night. It's amazing photos. So it's in there somewhere. But I as much as I'd like to see that, then I worry about being like in an area where it might feel trapped or something. But yeah, I've never seen any big. I would love to see like a Bengal tiger or a lion or. Really anything. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the only disappointment is that I'd say 90% of the times you see a lion, they're asleep.
Still cool, I think. Yeah, I would like, in the perfect world, I would like to just go put my hand up to the bottom of its paw. I think that'd be cool. But then I would get mauled to death, probably.
That's a different sort of comedy. Different market for that comedy.
I've always done that with my pet cats, like the paws, the little pads are so cool. And I'm imagining just, man, that the size of their paws must be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, with a big male lion, it's huge to the point that if you're tracking lions, you can be walking along and you go, okay, well, it's two females and oh, look, here comes the male. And you can just see it just from the size of his tracks coming.
And another one, a blue whale would be cool. That would be cool. Just because, again, I've been into the Natural History Museum in New York City, and they have the one room where they have an actual life-size replica of a blue whale I don't know if you've been in there, hanging from the ceiling to the whole room. And when you get to see it, like, I mean, that's just a fake whale, but still just the enormity of it. And then it's like, oh, that's like a living thing with this massive heart. And
I think the heart's something like the weight of an elephant or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think it's the size of like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
And I think like that, like a newborn baby could pass through its blood vessels, like it's through its arteries. And like that's how, like, maybe, I don't know what that means. You squash it down a little bit. The baby, I mean, they have soft heads, but like it's like, so it's like, it's basically like a larger
when they're not moving.
Yeah. But just, they're so big. And to imagine that it's living, let alone, swimming around, and the amount of food it has to eat, it's such an incredible animal. I've seen some smaller whales from afar. I've seen some whale sharks closer up, those aren't true whales. Huh?
Was that in Florida that you saw the whale
Mexico.
Shark?
It was off the coast of a fishing village called Holbox, near Cancun. And we were staying on that island, and we went out on this little boat, and then there was like giant manta rays. I mean, with like a wingspan of 20 something feet, maybe, or I mean, just like massive. And then these whale sharks just feeding in this whole area there and stuff, and it was really cool. And just floating around, looking at them, and they're cool, but they're not, they're sharks. So as far as whales go, I haven't really seen any of those.
That's and I mean, you spoke about like a newborn being able to move down their arteries, and yet they would choke on a grapefruit.
Yeah.
Their throat opening so small, because you don't need a big throat for krill.
Yeah.
They've got a tiny little throat opening.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can put a grapefruit in its artery. So that's if you get it. Bowling ball. might have some problems at the heart, I think. But if you get it in
there. You got a great show on Amazon Prime that is titled, I think, after my life. It's called Poor Decisions. Amazon Prime. Where else can people watch that?
Amazon Prime. That's where it's
Okay.
at. They have the distribution rights to it. I think somebody like ripped it and put it on YouTube somewhere. So if you put my name in poor decisions, probably not supposed to say that contractually, but
I was going to say, yeah. I wasn't going to mention that I had found that, but I did watch it on Amazon Prime.
I didn't do it. Watch it on Amazon Prime. And I'm actually just got a whole long version of that. I'm going to be chopping up clips of that too, like to be putting on my social media, so I can be a little bit more active like that. But yeah, thanks. I think that's the mantra for a lot of people's lives: poor decisions. I mean, that's who's making the right decisions all the time. Who's that boring person? You know,
it's weird that we want that from politicians, isn't it? We want the guy that's never taken a drug, been drunk, slept with the wrong person.
Yeah.
It's like, I know I want somebody more like me, but smarter and wiser.
Yeah.
That can relate to me. That's
learn from those decisions. That's what you're supposed to do. You make the bad decisions, you learn from them. You turn 50, then you become president. I guess. You know, that's. I guess I don't know. That would be the way. But yeah, I enjoyed shooting it. There was supposed to be more people there, but I shot it back in Florida, in Miami, where I'm from, and a hurricane was basically about to hit. It ended up missing, and we already knew it was going to skirt away from Miami and not really be a direct hit. But nonetheless, people still weren't like in the mood to be going out, and it's still raining and weather and stuff. So, you know, it was a small place anyways. I was going to have like 180 people there, but in the end, I had about 40.
Couldn't you just reshoot the opening and say thanks for coming out despite COVID?
Yeah, just re-update it. Like,
all the time. This is today's excuse for the small audience.
That'd be reckless, actually. If I had 40 people that were like, look at this, fucking yeah. But it was still a good crowd, and it was a really cool place, and it looks really. My friend Clyde Scott directed it and edited it, and he did like a great job with it. And so I'm proud of it and stuff too. It was just, it just would have been nicer to have the whole thing, but I still think it's a really good. And all the jokes are there, you know, and it's a lot of insight to my life. So.
A lot of it, I'm pretty far from the world of comedy, but I spent a lot of time in hotels as well.
Yeah.
And there's one of the things you talk about in there about that card, and it is every hotel in the world.
Yeah.
All caught onto this. It saves them money not to wash your towels and sheets, but they put the onus on you. If you do this, you save.
There's always a picture. It's an animal. I say it in the joke. It's a lemur, but there's always like a sunset or a waterfall or something. And it's like
a grove of bamboo.
The funny thing is I do my own shows and stuff, but I also open for a very successful comedian, Jim Jeffries, and which is how I've gotten to put in contact with you indirectly through some people. But so I've traveled around the whole world with him. I mean, I've been to Australia and New Zealand down there. I've been all throughout Europe and parts of the Middle East, Asia and Southeast Asia. I mean, everywhere. And like every hotel has it. I don't care what country. I was able to do that joke in every country that I visited because it's in every because some jokes don't translate. You know, like, oh, what jokes can I do in this country and what can that one didn't matter what country I was in. People knew immediately what I was talking about. And it's like they do the thing too, where like, hey, if you don't wash your towels or your sheets and just be a dirty scumbag for a week, we'll give you a free drink at the bar. They have that one too. It's like,
really? I haven't had that yet.
Yeah, they'll give you some points, and like you can use the points at the snack bar at the bar. And you're like, oh, thanks. And, I don't mind. Look, if I'm only in a hotel like 2 nights, anyways, I don't need the sheets changed or the towels, whatever. But sometimes I'm in a hotel for like 6 days, and it's like, I don't know. It gets kind of.
How often do you wash your sheets and towels at home though? That's
the thing, though. To be fair, not that often. So it depends. My girlfriend makes me do it more than because the towels though, they get a little bit funky if you use them after a week. I think like that. That's why they're on that threshold. And they're
always white. They're always white, and that's you're not getting that clean in the shower.
Yeah, and then there's like there's always like there's like a weird stain somewhere that they haven't gotten completely out. And then it's but here's the thing. If you just just be honest too, like, hey, like just put a picture of the person that's cleaning your room and be like, hey, we're gonna pay them more money too. We're going to save money, but we'll give it to them. It's like you're helping the environment and helping this person that's like cleaning your disgusting room, you pig. So get like that's where when I traveled cross country, when I moved here, I had a cat with me, and I had to pay an extra $25 or $30 in every room that I sat in because they, it's like a pet fee for cleaning and stuff. But I always was like, yeah, that $25 should go to whoever's cleaning my room because they got to get all the hair and stuff out of it. Doesn't go to them. They're getting paid the same amount of money. These hotels are always coming up with some scam thing where they're like, yeah, we wouldn't take the money from you, but we kind of have to because shut up.
Yeah, because the staff will be doing the job that they're doing. I mean, it should. Do they charge rock stars more with what they're going to do to hotel? And you actually had a brilliant suggestion about better than not cleaning towels is what they could actually do for the environment.
Yeah. Complementary contraceptives on the nightstand.
There we are. Save the world. Fewer people.
I don't know what I say it in the joke. I don't know what the statistics are, but I believe there are probably a lot of kids made on holidays, vacations, whatever you want to call them, where people are like, and hey, we had a couple of Mai Tais and whatever. And you're like, whoops, we're having another kid, like this, because,
just every hotel in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just because, and that's not people on a family vacation. That's the accidental family. And
I mean the whole slew. You've got condoms. You've got you got the morning after pill in there if you lean that way or whatever. Now they do sometimes, to be fair, they do have contraceptives on the mini bars. Like they have a love kit, but it's like, but again, you're in the moment. You're like, oh, go get that condom off the mini bar. Be careful. Don't knock over the peanuts or the M&Ms. That'll cost us $50 if you do that stuff. So you're like doing some sort of mission. I got it. And then you open it up and it's like a condom from like 1995. You're like, great.
And probably stapled to a card saying, have a good night.
Oh, yeah. Or it's just like was used and put back in there by the last person and put back on the sensor. Like, I don't know why you're charging me for this.
The gin bottle with water in it.
That old trick.
I know which. I never thought I'd say this about gin, but I know which one I would find more disappointing and certainly more disgusting.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's your answer. So yeah, but it is, the world is overpopulated, and it is a kind of a weird time to say that because I'm not wishing anybody to die because people are dying unnecessarily, but there is definitely a population problem in this world. So
people don't necessarily need to die as if we just had few. And I mean, I say this, I've been in environmental work through tourism in some way for more than half my life now. And the two most damaging things I've done to the environment are currently asleep upstairs.
You have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have 0, so I'm a hero.
Yeah, you're a far better conservation. You could be working on an oil rig and you've probably done more for the environment than me.
Here's something that I never get, and this is in the United States. I'm not sure what this is. If you have kids, you get a tax break. I'm like, what? Why? So I have to pay. I don't get a tax break, but I'm not putting. And your tax money goes. Forget schools and different things that everyone's going to use. That's another way to control the population. Is like, and I'm not sure what Japan does as far as, but like, you tax people more for having kids, because I don't know why there's a break. There should be taxed more. You're using more resources. I'm sorry if you have kids, which is probably most people watching this. But you are using more resources than the one selfish hermit like myself, that doesn't have kids.
Well, I know in Australia and the UK, you get what's called a baby bonus. You're actually given a cash sum when you have a kid. And the economists have driven that. They say the fastest way to grow an economy is to grow the market. So the more people there are, the more people you can sell shit to.
Yeah.
So, and I've actually spoken to an economist and said, does this factor in finite resources that shit is going to run out? I said, no, not at all. And yet that's a model used by pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that's that economy environment clash. That always, it's like, they people are like, oh yeah, I mean that's the main problem. That's the main argument people always use is like, oh well, you can't make these corporations pay more money for polluting because then the cost is going to go to us, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, we'll take that other cost, and it's a form of absolute insanity. And you think how harshly we're going to be judged by future generations on this.
That's funny. Future generations, yes. So you're envisioning a world where the world doesn't burn up into a ball.
Yeah. Sorry, the future cockroaches are going to look back and go, wankers.
Archaeologists, their planets.
Yeah. Okay, so imagine for a moment that I'm not me. Probably easy for you to do since we've only just met. My name's Wayne Jr. I'm from Indiana. My dad Wayne's been on Deep in the Bush a few times or represented here. My dad Wayne says that playing video games is not a real career. If he's right, when I grow up, should I be a conservation ecologist, a stand-up comedian, or join him in the office printer solutions business?
What conservation? What are the choices? It was
a conservation ecologist, stand-up comedian, office printer supply industry.
Yeah. What should you do? I thought you were going to say e-gamer was on there. I was like, e-gamer all the way. That's big bucks nowadays. That's like,
but surely only if you're good at it.
Or you just make a Twitch account, show a little bit of side boob, man or woman, doesn't matter. So I would, as far as when I look back, things that I feel fulfilling that I did, like the biology part of my life, was I felt like I was not maybe making a difference is pretty corny, but I at least felt like I'm contributing positively to society. I feel like people say, yeah, but you make people laugh and that's important. I get that. But I also sometimes I sit around and I'm like, man, I can't believe this is a job. Like I get to do this. Like I write on TV shows too, and that takes little more work. But stand-up comedy at a club, I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard to write jokes and it's hard to be on the road and this and that. But at the end of the day, like what kind of difference did you make? So I think I would go biologist or ecologist. I think that's the more noble of them, but also the more selfless of the, because comedy is all about the ego. And it's nice, but it's like, look, I've never been to a hospital and cured anybody with my laughter. That's all I'm saying. It's like I've never told a dick joke in the oncology ward, and people are like, cancer free. That's never happened. So, but I also will say,
I'd just love to see you walk into an oncology ward and try it though, and then you got to repeat the experiment to make sure it's good science several times.
I don't say I'm not shitting on someone that has an office job and sells office printer and stuff. Like I have a printer right here. I just printed stuff up. Look, it's a whole machine. Everybody needs to do something part of the machine. That's what. So I value everybody's work as much as the next person, except for people that give out tickets, parking tickets. Fuck them. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if those people are truly desperate. They got fired from their job cleaning your cat's hotel room, or whether they, there's something's happening. How do they go to work each day without feeling dread?
Yeah. Could you do it? I would feel bad because.
Well, I mean, again, there's everybody has a price, and it's not necessarily the money. Yeah. If my kids are there going, Daddy, I'm hungry, whatever, and that was the only job available to me. I'm a bit too old for prostitution and don't have the moves on the pole that I once had. So. Yeah. But
so the thing is okay, so if it's blatant, if someone's just like, I'm parking in the middle of this driveway of somebody else's house, I don't give a shit. I'm parking in a handicap space, fine. But the majority of those tickets, I got one the other day because it was street sweeping day, which is a big crock of shit. I saw somebody tweet out during COVID, they stopped street sweeping. And they're like, apparently willing to do street sweeping once every 2 months because the streets seem just as dirty or not dirty as without the street. But if you don't move your cars here, you get a ticket. And I just forgot to move it. $75 ticket. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Like for street sweeping, like give me a warning and then I'll make, I don't know. That seems excessive and bullshit to me,
Have you ever heard of a guy called Edward de Bono?
Edwin?
Edward de Bono.
Edward de Bono, no.
He invented the phrase lateral thinking. And it was his first book bestseller. And he's a guy, he comes at ideas from a really sideways lateral thinking perspective. And he was actually commissioned by New York City. And they said, no matter how big the fines are and how many fines we put out, people still park illegally.
Yeah.
How do we stop it? What do we do with the fines? And he said, you don't. Anybody can park anywhere as long as they leave their lights on.
Yeah.
New
Okay.
York didn't take him up on not the idea.
Yeah.
They would lose the revenue.
Yeah. Well, I used to do a joke a long time ago, and it was like a wildlife thing too, because Florida panthers are endangered at one point. I think they thought there was less than 100. I don't know how many are around now, but there's like panther crossing zones, and I got pulled over in one, but I didn't see that it was a panther crossing zone, and so I had this whole thing with this cop and about that honestly it was rude that we were keeping them alive because they started to inbreed, and they're born with extra testicles and fur growing in the wrong direction and stuff, and so anyways, it was a joke. But at the end of it, I was just talking about how like this is how the cops gain their revenue, because when the budgets come out, just like most everybody, there's not enough money for cops to operate proper, and so they get it through like speeding tickets and all this other bullshit and stuff. So in my joke, I was like, they should just figure out how many people there are in whatever city, how much money do you need to get to, send us an invoice, and then we can do whatever the fuck we want the rest of the year within reason,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
what do you have to do in a panther crossing zone?
You have to go slower. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's an area where like, it was the same thing though. It was like, I don't think these cops care about panthers. It was like, they're generating money, like, I don't know if the panthers are seeing the money or like, but they do get hit by cars a lot and stuff for that. That was like the number one, and there's not that many of them, so, but I don't know, in LA County, it's like, there's just LA County. I think I don't know what the last count was, 12 million or people. I don't know how many people are, a lot. So figure out what you need for the LA Police Department, divide it by that, send us a bill, and then no more parking meters and all this other
city rates. Yeah.
Just figure it out. What is it going to be? $100 per people, and then you don't have to worry about all that stuff,
Yeah. And it's not as if that's a good use of a trained police force's time.
Yeah, exactly. And then they could be, you could have less police force. You could have them doing the stuff that we want them to do. I had my house broken into one time, stole my laptop and a bunch of other stuff, and they're just filling out the police report mainly for the insurance company. Because I was like, I remember they stole my laptop, a bunch of other stuff. There's a window broken, which makes you feel really vulnerable and violated, whatever. And they stole like some weird stuff, like my electric razor and weird stuff. And then I remember being like, do you mind if I have a drink? Because I was just like, my nerves were shot, whatever. And I went to go get the tequila out of the freezer, and I had like really nice tequila, and they stole that. So I couldn't even have the tequila.
Oh, that's real spitting on you as you like. Yeah.
And the cop was like, I go, oh, so what do you like? How often do you guys recover stuff? And the guy's like, yeah, we're not getting it back. Like it's like we're filling this out for the insurance company for you. Like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, my family moved to the UK recently from South Africa, and there when you get burglary is good. Robbery you do not want there. Burglary,
burgled. Yeah.
You take as a like. Well, thank God we weren't here. And we had something similar where they took a bunch of our booze, but a visitor from Germany had left us a bottle of some German spirit. I don't even know what it was. I took and I'll drink most things unless it's a cleaning product. And it was so foul that it just sat there for ages. And we actually found it about 100 meters down the road, smashed. And they'd obviously taken a swig too. And even they got, no, this is toxic.
Yeah, I never thought of burgled versus robbed and stuff. The Wings album, Paul McCartney, the Wings, where in Africa was that recorded? They recorded that in like
Paul McCartney and Paul and Linda McCartney. Did they
Wings, the Wings album, yeah. They were Band on the Run was recorded somewhere in Africa.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard this. They were playing the whole album, and in between each song, it was on Sirius XM. In between each song, Paul would talk about the album, and they were recording it. And they were walking down the street, and they had all the masters in the bag, whatever, and they got robbed. Oof. And they stole the masters. But it was funny because Paul McCartney was like, luckily I knew all the songs still in my head, so we wouldn't re-record them. I was like, what the fuck? Just like, this is just like savant genius. It's like an imprinted photographic memory of every chord and sound. And
wow.
So somewhere.
I didn't know that was done in Africa. I mean, Paul Simon, I know with Graceland, he at least had Ladysmith Black Mambazo there.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I heard him doing the interview, and it was like him convincing people to fly there first and be there and live there, and I don't remember the reason why they did it though. But it banned on the run. I think that's where the maybe the title comes from. And yeah, you have. I'm doing this on my phone. If I click over, I'll lose you. So I don't want to.
All right. Well, let's get back to animals.
Yeah.
So, in your experience, what animal are we most like as a species?
Something terrible, you know, like something that's just like I always say this. I was like, I feel like humans are the only animal that if we disappeared from the earth would be a better place. You know, like every other animal, you lose a part of the ecosystem, some part of the food web falls apart or something. Humans, the whole planet would be like, yeah, it would be, everyone would be out in the street banging pots and pans, like just like it's that. So what animal is that? Mosquito? What good do they do? Don't tell me birds eat them, because I feel like they pass on more diseases. They're responsible for killing more people than any other animal. And I just feel like they're menaces. So mosquitoes.
Yeah, we could get, I think mosquitoes could go extinct, and probably a couple of bats would get a bit of an eating disorder, but
fine, but that's okay. But overall, the earth would be a better place. There's not a lot of animals that would be complaining about mosquitoes going down. Yeah,
no, definitely not. I think most of them would be pretty thrilled.
I don't know if mosquito. I'm from Florida, where mosquitoes are like. We used to wear the netting. You ever worn one of those? Yeah, where you have the screen over your whole body, like a weird water quality super. We would do water samples in the Everglades, and there's bees. They'd still be on the screening mesh all over the place, just trying to like jab into you and start sawing into your skin. Yeah.
It's amazing. I think it wasn't that long ago that there was malaria in the States.
Yeah. Well, Zika too. That was that was really recent. There was a couple cases in Miami, actually. Where I'm from, there was a couple in an area like Linwood there, like maybe 2 or 3 cases. I think West Nile, there was a couple cases in Sherman Oaks out here recently. Wow. It was like during COVID, because I remember it was like one of those people was like, all right, 2020. It was one of those like, I was like, yeah.
Would people stop daring 2020? I mean, there's still a month to go. It's like, what else have you got? It's like, shut up.
Yeah. But that is a good, I mean, probably a lot of people know this, but that's like one of those bar quizzes or questions like, what animal is responsible for the most deaths of humans? And of course it's mosquitoes, but yeah, so they suck. Let's compare. And I feel like overall we suck as far as the natural world. Mosquitoes.
Yeah. I think, we could go back to a manageable population of maybe about 10,000 of us worldwide.
10,000 mosquitoes? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's pretty well accepted that Homo sapiens arose about sapiens. There's the various other species, but sapiens arose about 300,000 years ago. It looks like it was Botswana. So present day Botswana, which back then had this massive lake, it's now a massive salt pan. And we just got our asses kicked. And we got our asses kicked until we ended up on the beach in South Africa, literally like backs to the ocean, down to 10,000. At that point, there were 10,000 Homo sapiens in the entire world.
Wow.
That was 200,000 years later. So 100,000 years ago, we were rarer than white rhinos are today.
Yeah, I mean, if the post office existed, we would have been on stamps. You know, all this money goes to help save the Homo sapiens.
Yeah, that's just it. We were this ridiculously endangered species clinging to this little bit of coastline, and somehow that's where we actually got clever. And they've just found what they think is the first art. Certainly, some of the first fish hooks, first clothes.
They just found that.
Yeah. There's 2 caves, Blombos and Clipdrift. Funny names.
Oh, yeah. I think,
working a lot in those. I don't know if you've seen that documentary, My Octopus Teacher.
No, I've seen the trailer and I keep meaning to see it.
Really good, but what's not spoken about is Craig Foster, the main guy in it, is actually near savant levels in early humans, and how the Bushmen are the closest people to that style of life, the Bushmen of Africa today. And amazing stuff.
What's it on? I saw it's on Netflix or
your rival.
Thanks for reminding me of that, because I saw that trailer and I'm like, what the heck, this is crazy.
I mean, again,
it's depressing too at the same time, but I don't think that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
give it away in the trailer.
Well, there's no spoiler in me saying an octopus lives a year.
Yeah, I know, but you don't want to see it in the actual documentary. Like, can you just put that in the, when the credits come up and they're like, "You passed away last week."
Yeah, so but yeah, really, really worth seeing.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a tradition here on Deep in the Bush. We finish off every episode. I know you're a busy guy, and I got to go and cook my wife dinner. Finish with some good news, which I think we all need this year. What's some good news?
Some good news. Well, I think this is the way I look at this now, and some people might not want to hear this because their lives might be in different, but I always feel like it can't get worse than this. Is a good thing way to look at it. I'm an addict and a gambling addict, and do 12-step programs, and that rock bottom you kind of have to like hit to like.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is the rock bottom of the human existence, because there's been a lot way worse than this, but it's rock bottom for a lot of people in their current present lives. Like this is the most struggle and difficulty that we've had to face. It's clearly not as difficult as other times, especially since we've been industrialized and stuff. But look, I feel like time moves quickly, and I feel like we're on an upswing here. I'm not trying to get political or anything like that, but I feel like that at least in America, like things have a way to look up or something like that. But I also I always try to be like glass half full and stuff like that too. So good thing. I'll tell you a good thing that happened this morning. I shave outside. That's what I do. I shaved for you for this show, and I have a mirror outside.
You shaved this morning.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, I still have like this 5 o'clock,
okay.
Cool guy. I was like just shrub, like just coming out.
Okay. This is about a week's growth. I'm desperate. I'm 45, almost 46. I can't wait for puberty, so I'm jealous.
There, I thought I'd lost you. Yeah, I shaved this morning. I have a mirror attached to the wooden fence in my backyard because it's just so much hair. Then you just sweep it into the mulch there, and birds will come grab it and make a nest. This is how I do it in my brain. At least birds are making nests out of my beard, and then they're having babies. But as I was shaving, I have this big orange tree in the backyard, and right now there's all these white butterflies. I'm not quite sure what species or whatever. And I have this mirror that's on this little, extender arm, and I'm out there shaving this morning, and a butterfly just landed there and flapped its wings, and that was good. I thought that was cool, and so I try to take the joy in like little things like that, especially when shitty stuff is going on. And I think that everyone can do that, in the natural world. This is a podcast or a video cast about animals and wildlife and stuff. And I think that if you just sit somewhere, I used to do this when I was scuba diving too. I used to just go sit on the bottom, the sand area, let all the air out of my buoyancy compensator, and just sit there and just stay still for about 10 minutes and just watch the natural world going around me. And you'll see that the world is still going on. You'll still see that there's like this pureness and in the wildlife, just between butterflies or birds, even a squirrel, even the feral cats or something like that. And I think there's like a pureness going on there, and it'll put you at ease. And I feel like there's a good that runs the rest of the world. I said we're the worst, it's us and mosquitoes, but the rest of the world, I feel like is mostly good. And I think if you just take a few minutes to kind of just like do nothing, sit in place, watch a tree, sit in a park, wherever you can do it, and just see what's going on here, I think that's good.
I think that's amazing. I think that's probably the loveliest answer I've had to that question so far.
Oh,
yeah. This is what most people don't understand, is that comedians are actually incredibly serious people.
Yeah, we're not fun off stage. That's, people are always like, it's gonna be great. We're hanging out like after a show. People are like, you want to get a drink? And you're like, you don't want to drink. I'll buy you a drink. And then you're at the bar and you're like, oh God, I hate everything. People are like, man, it wasn't fun hanging out with him. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. Don't. You don't want to see us pull the curtain back.
No. Or the rage gets manifests on stage. That's been I really love that and everything you've said tonight. Or today, where you are. Thank you so much. I hope to reach the point soon that I can actually come and see you live.
For sure. Yeah. I
Definitely
would
not
love
going to
that
have a
too.
drink with you.
At some point I'll be over the pond, as I say, or whatever. I was there last year. I was there in January or December, in England, and you're in England now, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So our paths will cross someday, somewhere.
Fantastic. Sure. Forrest, really, really appreciate it. Thanks very much, and good luck as we all come out of this thing. And good luck with the show online and all of the writing and touring.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Forrest. Okay, bye.